Everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Taking a look here at Solana, double checking a few important factors. Of course, we're seeing Bitcoin selling off with a over 3% correction here so far today. I think we're going to see a little bit further downside, so probably best to presume Solana will pull back a bit further. It has responded fairly well to this sell-off in the last 6 to 8 hours, but I'm not super convinced we found our bottom here, right? So again, truth be told, we got to kind of adjust a few things here. We have a double top here as well for Solana. And oftentimes when you see double top, it can absolutely be, one of those scenarios in which the price action will continue much further down. So we just want to be prepared. I'm not trying to scare you at all. I'm just kind of letting you know that generally at this point, we're probably looking to see one more leg down. And that's based on the premise that Bitcoin's probably going to retest that 63 to 62K range. There's a lot of confluence there. So if you caught my playout chart or perhaps just in general, the overall review of Bitcoin, it seems logical that with the areas of liquidation on the downside here, we're more likely to see the price action continue further up after we go down a little bit lower. Okay. And again, we also have Jerome Powell's speech too. Just to kind of give you a quick little heads up, if you look at the market calendar here, you zoom in, you can see we have a live presentation here for an economic outlook for JP. This generally always going to be considered a very volatile situation, so sometimes it's best. Actually, all times I prefer to close my positions leading into it or to not open any newer trades going into that as well, because just the extreme volatility you can see during that time frame. So just a heads up, that's a potential reality for us as well. Once more, Bitcoin's making some moves and Solana is pulling back a little harder than it should. But you got to recognize too, it pivoted and bounced a lot stronger than most other altcoins as well. So Solana's actually maintaining itself fairly well. We may not see a dramatic decrease, but I do think it's best to prepare for somewhat of a retracement, a further retracement here for Solana. At least one more lower low, if you will. So let's look at the backend data, kind of see if there's any merit to this liquidation here. And it's pretty straightforward. I mean, look at this. This is very clear. We got a significant amount of liquidation here. Billions of dollars swept as low as 153.50. Price recovers. Now it's right back down again, trying to come to that level. So just a friendly advice, between 150 and 154, we see a decent amount of liquidation. I think 150 could be the new bottom just based on liquidation alone. We're not going to be basing our analysis on liquidation, but the truth is you got to recognize that that is a very important factor. If we kind of zoom in here too as well, there's a lot of liquidation that's going to occur somewhere. Hold on, actually, let's refresh this really quick. We can see the liquidation levels right here at about 152.50 and a pretty heavy one at about 151. Okay, so those are just very large accumulations of liquidation, and generally speaking, when you see that, it's important to recognize that we are probably not done pulling back. Okay, so let's look at the weekly and work our way down, because today is, of course, the first day of the new week, so we want to kind of just get perspective on how the week closed and kind of go from there. So in the overall sense here, when we're looking at the charts, let me go ahead and clear out a little bit here just so we can kind of go with the better views here. We can see we're over the 20-day SMA. Say the 20-day SMA is hanging about 150. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. I'm speculating we're going to see a decent amount of support at 150. Let's zoom out a little bit here and kind of see, ever since we've been in this range of 120 or higher, we've seen the most amount of volume for Solana at 144. Okay, now again, that's just a recap. You've probably known that. I've talked about that a lot. 144 is that macro support. So 144 and 150/151 are those two areas of consideration for either a long, or if you're shorting right now, take profit targets. All right. Weekly time frame, we're still converging on the MACD, or sorry, stochastic. It's going to be consistent though for a while. It takes a little while for that to catch up. Generally, just letting us know we're still in an uptrend. We're over 50 on the RSI. Money flow index is right there with it. MACD is soon to converge. These are all very, very similar situations for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a similar macro, and it's actually a very good sign. To me personally, it feels like we're still having, this is like the last leg down before the next significant leg up. So I do feel like we could very well see the $200 range retested for Solana soon. Now, when I say soon, I'm not talking about tomorrow or next week, but October is historically one of the better months, better trading months that usually results in a green month. So there is a decent chance we will see that happen, especially with Bitcoin dominance looking like it wants to taper off. It's starting to form some interesting patterns. And I think there's a solid chance we see further downside for Bitcoin dominance, which implies upside for altcoins. Having said that, daily time frame, let's look at what's going on here. So macro perspective, again, just to clarify, this is not necessarily a reality, but we have a lot of fair value in the 135 to 140 range. Okay, so we lose 144, we may see a sweep down to that level. Remember, there's a lot of support in that range because a lot of folks added to their position in the 130 range. So that does give us a lot of support. And of course, depending on how you look at it, once again, 144 is that initial support. So until we lose 144, I don't think we have any consideration for being super bearish in this coin. I think that's actually going to be still more so a macro bullish scenario for us to get in at 144 to 150. But I think 150 is almost an inevitability at this point, just based on liquidation and the overall trend of Bitcoin so far. Having said all that, daily time frame, we can see we're still over 50 on the RSI. Money flow index is high, stochastic stringing down. While stochastic, TSI, and MACD are all tapering off. That's a very common occurrence. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, roughly 2 weeks worth of continuation of the upside. Okay. Retracement is normal, folks. This is a very standard pullback. You have to see it in order for the next leg up to be worthwhile. All right. So again, this is still very good overall sentiment to me. Everything still looks fairly well bullish. But again, it's best not to get that misunderstood, because smaller timeframes are definitely going to confirm that we are moving down. So for all those blood diamond fans and all that stuff, it's probably true. We're probably seeing those things pull back. Because once again, we're seeing a shift here on the 4-hour time frame. We're breaking 50 on the RSI. We're tentatively below that. Money flow index is lower. Stochastic's pulling back. Obviously, we're going to see some bearish signs in smaller time frames. So don't get it stuck in your head, though, that just because you see XYZ on 15 different time frames doesn't imply it's going to just continue forever, right? You have to rely, in most cases, on macro trend lines and or macro support and resistance levels. That's why fib levels are so beneficial here. Future reference, I'll update our fibs here, of course. It's not too much of an update, really, but I'll post our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. If you're not familiar, it looks a little something like this, where you can kind of see what's going on there, okay? Back to the charts here, just to wrap this up. The 4-hour time frame is looking bearish. We've lost most confirming factors. Again, Bitcoin looking very similar. Only difference is Bitcoin is much lower on its money flow index and its RSI, implying we see a bounce soon for Bitcoin. And if we do see that bounce soon, then obviously we'll probably see a very similar scenario for Solana, because Solana has proven to be very substantial in this current range with recovering quickly. Now, again, I still think we see this low 150 to maybe 148/144 as a possible reality. Okay, just know that those are some pretty solid DCA targets for the next leg up. Between now and then, we have to presume the price will continue lower. And again, obviously, I'm going to clean up our charts here. This is not an exact Elliott wave. I'm not an Elliott wave professional, by the way. I do like utilizing it in combination with other things. If you're only ever using it by itself, I think you got a lot to learn. Because again, folks, Elliott wave is nice. It's based on Fibonacci retracement levels, but Fib levels, while I love them and they work fairly well, unless you're using macro supports and some good, trend strength indicators such as RSIs or money flow, you're not really utilizing the correct things total. Okay, so again, I just kind of like to throw that out there because some folks are really dead set on Elliott wave, and it's a very limiting trading tool. It's beneficial for bigger movements, but again, try not to get stuck on just little things. I think it's important to have like a good mix of indicators, but don't use too many. And also timeframes too, folks. If you're using more than 3 to 4 timeframes, I think you're doing it wrong as a swing trader. If you're a day trader, obviously you need to look at the macro, the transitionary timeframes and smaller timeframes. That's fine. But I just see some folks getting really inundated with too much information, and you can really get stuck, and you can't make a good call if you're just sitting there overanalyzing the heck out of the charts. It doesn't make any sense. Future referenced, don't hesitate to take a break, take a walk sometimes. It's okay to unplug from the charts. I do it all the time myself personally. I mean, I'm probably analyze 20 to 30 charts a day, and in that time frame, I'm taking regular breaks, routine breaks. I go swim with my dog. I go for walks. I do a lot to kind of break up the norm. Okay. Last but not least here, hourly is confirming that we've broken bearish, of course, at least on smaller time frames. Please don't walk away from this conversation thinking that I'm bearish. I'm just telling you that the hourly time frame is moving down. Duh, obviously. You see the whole market? This is what an hourly divergence looks like. Majority of coins are going to be red. Okay, it's very standard. Okay, specifically when we had kind of a slightly green weekend Sunday night. What do you know? Asian market comes in and sweeps all that that profit. And again, U.S. markets right now are also doing the same thing. So this is pretty much normal, right, folks? There's a lot of meat left on the bone. Obviously, they're going to continue to pull back. The key takeaway here is that most altcoins, including Solana, have strong support ranges, which are based off local highs. And those areas are going to probably be tested and bounced and likely recovered there. So to touch on that, just so you understand, again, from a macro perspective, the local high here for Solana is this 140/150 range, okay? And I'm saying that because you can see here, local high here, local high here. Those are usually going to work as new lows. So we got to give 150 a chance to hold first. If we lose that, I'd say 140 to 144 would be a secondary consideration for long. But if you're going to consider averaging in 150, 144, and I would even say as low as 136 as 3 potential considerations for long. All right, cool. So that's really all we got here so far for now. We'll take a look at Solana again later, as per usual, and I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow if you haven't already. Also check out BitUnix too, folks. These guys, this goes for anyone who's used my link to register. They're offering a promotion next month for deposit bonus. So really, really solid little thing there. Easy money, honestly, if you're just going to be trading anyways. All right, thanks again. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.